Hi, this is Robert with Switch Pros. Today we're going to install the new Command Touch CT4 GPS controlled turn signal kit on our Polaris Pro R. What makes the system special is that the CT4 has a GPS sensor that will automatically cancel the turn signal once the turn is completed. Alright guys, here's our vehicle specific kit for the Command Touch CT4 for a Polaris Pro. And here is the main controller, the Command Touch CT4. That's going to get mounted on the steering wheel column. Then we have a horn and some zip ties and some hardware. This here is the main control harness that plugs into the CT4, and we already plugged in the GPS controller that we're going to mount in the front of the vehicle. This is our vehicle harness that'll run the cables to the front and rear of the vehicle. And then here's our fourth output. That's in accessory output. And here are 100 legends. This is our ignition / ground harness that will plug into the pulse bar of the vehicle. Here's the bracket for the Command Touch to mount onto the steering column. Here's a bracket for the license plate frame. This is the illuminated license plate frame. And then here we have the front and rear harnesses for the vehicle. This is where the horn plugs in. This is where the license plate plugs in, and amber turn signal indicators. So we prepped the vehicle a little bit. We pulled out the storage container in the dash, and that'll give us access to the pulse bar connector that'll provide our ignition and ground signal, and that's also where we're going to hook up the main power. We removed the side panels of the tunnel to then feed through the harness that runs to the rear of the vehicle. Okay, next, using a 1/16 of an inch Allen key, we're going to mount the Command Touch to the bracket using the Allen head screws. All right. Next, we're going to mount the module with the bracket onto the steering column. And we're simply just going to slide it on like so. And then using an 1/8 inch Allen key, we're going to insert the screw to tighten the bracket. Next, we're going to prep the vehicle harness, and we're going to connect the pulse bar connector that supplies a ground and ignition signal to our harness. And what we need to do here, we need to insert the black pin into this connector and the red pin, the red wire, put the cap on. Right, next we're going to take our main harness, and we're not going to plug the connector into the Command Touch yet, but we're going to take the other end. We're going to plug in into the output connector, which supplies power to the turn signals, and we're going to plug that into the vehicle harness. And then also we're going to plug in a connector for your ignition and ground supply in. Okay. All right, so this is going to the front. We have the GPS sensor, the pulse bar connector, main power connection, and this is the front harness for the turn signals and the horn, the 3-foot section. That's all being fed up under the dash. Right, we pulled the plug off of the pulse bar, one of the connections. We're going to set it aside, and then we're going to take our connector and plug it into the pulse bar. And then next, we're going to take our power wire and connect it to the stud that feeds the pulse bar. The GPS antenna, we routed it up from where the pulse bar is, underneath the dash cover, up to the front. And you want it towards the front of the vehicle, and the orientation does not matter. What matters is that it sits horizontal, and that no metal surfaces are covering the top. So this is a plastic cover, so it'll work out just fine. And you can see they mounted the vehicle GPS sensor right there, actually. So we're going to mount it right here up front on this little flat surface using some double-sided tape. You can use screws, zip tie, or whatever it takes to create a secure placement. But like I said, we're just doing the double-faced tape, and this is like industrial. It's like permanent. It will not come off. Some good pressure. And that should be perfect. Next, we ran the front turn signal indicator harness to the front of the vehicle. Same way we ran the GPS sensor under the hood cover. And the only difference is this one we ran underneath the bracket. So here will be our central connection point. And then we'll take the front turn signal harness and blinker with the turn signal indicators. And you can always tell the front has the 2¼ inch blade connectors because that is the horn connection. So we're going to connect that here, like so. And this will be underneath here, and then we're going to run each turn signal LED to the proper side. So front right will run underneath here, and we're going to mount the turn signal right there. And then the left will be the same way underneath here, and then come out here, and then we're going to connect the horn also. We mounted the horn. We decided to put it right here on this, mounted to this bracket, and we connect positive and negative. Polarity doesn't matter on this horn. So there you go. There's many different options where to mount this. It's just basically preference. We're going to install our turn signal lights now. So we marked them on both sides, and then we're going to use a 3/4 inch drill bit to drill the holes. We're going to use a step drill bit because those work pretty well. We drilled a 3/4 inch hole. Now the way to install these turn signal indicators is, it's very simple. They get installed from the back, but what you do is first you remove the grommet from the light, like so. Okay, and then we already did it on the existing one. So then we're gonna feed the indicator through the hole, like so. Okay, then we're going to take the grommet and slide it over the light, and then we're going to install the grommet first. So, and then we're going to install the light, and then note the top writing here on the indicator. That goes to the top. And then we push in the light and position the grommet. Okay, regarding the vehicle harness, this is the harness that runs to the rear for the rear turn signals, and we ran it inside the tunnel here, and it comes from up front under the dash, and we're going to run it down this way. This way, we're still going to secure it with zip ties, and then we run it right through here, and it'll come out the back. We took the vehicle harness and fed it through the tunnel, and it will come out down at the bottom, and then we routed the cable up on top here, zip tied it. So then here's the connector for the rear. Then this is the rear harness for the turn signals, and then we're just going to simply plug it in, and then we're going to run our right LED turn indicator to the right side. The left one will go to the left, and here's our license plate connector. Next, we're going to install the rear turn signal indicators. There's several locations where they can be mounted. Either we can put it here or down here somewhere. We actually decided to mount it inside the brake light. So what we're going to do is we're just going to remove the grommet from the light, and then place the grommet inside here like this, and we found that the best location is about right here, and that measures exactly 5 inches from this corner to here. So next we're going to remove the light using a 10mm socket. There's 3 nuts holding the light in for easier access to the panel, and then we're going to drill the hole. We installed the turn signal indicator like so, just like we did the front. Now we're going to reinstall the tail light. So it slides in like that. You plug in the connector, and then we're going to secure the nuts. Next, we're going to mount the license plate frame to the vehicle frame using the bracket. So first, we're going to remove this bolt here using 2 13mm wrenches, like so. I already had it loose. So, and then we're going to insert the bolt into here, and then slide it into the bracket, put the nut on the back, then tighten everything up. Last step is to secure the Command Touch harness in the back so that when it's plugged in and you're telescoping the steering wheel, that there's still enough play in the back for the cable to move freely. Alright, and then we zip tied all our cables in the box here under the dash, where it connects to the pulse bar and everything. Okay, so last step, we're going to plug this in. Next, we're going to test the turn signals using the GPS sensor to make sure they function properly. Okay, left turn. And it's off. Next we're going to test the horn right here. And it sounds like it's working.